You are a serious writer, and it's time for you to believe it. Plenty of people say things like, oh, I'll write a book when I retire, or that your writing is cute, or such a nice outlet. It's such a fun hobby, but you should really focus on your real job. Well, guess what? Storytelling has always been crucial to cultural change, to passing down information. Writing stories is powerful. Stories can and have changed the world. There's a reason dictators start by burning the books, and I think that storytelling is just as important as any real job, or even more important. Personally, I think that if more people read stories, we would have a more empathetic, functional society. Since no one asked me, I'm sitting here in the woods telling the squirrels what I think. Y'all, today we are going to break down the lie that is keeping us locked in this restricting mindset. I am going to give you a 3-step plan to shake off those minimizing comments, take your writing seriously, and become the writer you want the world to see. Take a deep breath. You've made it to the writing woods. Here, there is no pressure, no distractions, and definitely no one telling you what you should be doing with your life. Just a calm East Tennessee day and a shared passion for writing. While we are settling in, I want to invite you to our Writing Woods community. It's our quiet little trail through the noise. It is a free space for writers to stay accountable, share wins, and grow together. I hope to see you there. So what does it mean to be a serious writer? Most of the time we frame it by achievement. We think I'll be a real writer when I'm published, I sell a certain number of copies, I publish my second book or my third. And so much of the conversation around writing and publishing is how hard it is, how low the chance of success is. When I was a freshman in college, one of my first classes as a creative writing major, the professor asked us what percentage of traditionally published authors did we think made a living on their writing alone? And the answer at that time was 5%, and for poets it was much lower. And I'm not sure what her reason for that was. I know I've done something similar. When I give my query workshop, I break down real numbers from a literary agency so that folks can see what a small percentage of queries actually result in representation. And personally, I do that so that writers don't get the impression that they're going to send 5 queries and land an agent. I don't want them to be disappointed if that doesn't happen. I want to set realistic expectations so that they can settle in for the long haul. But I think the framing of this matters. Are we highlighting these numbers so that folks don't get discouraged and so that they keep working toward their goal? Or are we doing this as a form of gatekeeping? I think this feeds into these ideas that we have that we're not real writers, that we're not serious writers. Because we set these benchmarks, we talk about these numbers, and we feel like if we're below that threshold that we're somehow less important, that our writing is less important. And I just don't think that's true. The big lie many of us writers swallow is that we have to prove ourselves. We have to prove our worth as writers. And we do that through achievements, through productivity. And if we don't meet these benchmarks, whether it has to do with publication, whether it's writing a certain number of words per day, then we're not real writers. And we can blame hustle culture or capitalism or a society that is so fixated on productivity and output. But in the end, while people can judge your art, they cannot tell you whether it is serious. How many people said that abstract art was just finger painting, that anyone could do that it's not real art? And now how much of that is going for millions of dollars? The judgment, what constitutes art, will change. But the question that I would rather ask is, how serious did those artists feel about their work? How much did it matter to them? How much of their heart and soul and effort did they put into its creation? I think that's more important. I think that's the question when we're determining who is a serious writer. And by the way, I say we, but no one can decide that except you, the writer. Not everyone will like your writing. Not everyone will understand it. But if you pour your heart and soul into a story, into a piece of writing, it is serious to you. And that is the only measuring stick that matters. And I'm not saying that we discard becoming better writers, that we ignore ways to improve our craft, because we will always be learning and growing. But the fact that you don't know everything does not make you any less serious of a writer. No one looks at a med student and says you're not serious because you haven't performed surgery yet. They see someone who is learning and who is working to get to that place, and they're respected for that. Same thing with writers. Now that I've waxed poetic for a while, let's talk about the 3 steps to get out of this mindset and start seeing your writing as something serious. Number 1, respect your desire. Your ambition is not arrogance, it's direction. One of the reasons that these minimizing comments can hurt so badly is because a lot of the time we are already minimizing our work to ourselves. We have those voices in our heads saying that no one's gonna like this, it isn't real, it's silly, it's not good, I'm not a real writer. Putting yourself down, hedging your bets a little bit, because if it's not serious, if it's just a hobby, it's just something you do on the side, then the failure stings less, or at least we think it's gonna sting less. So the first thing to do is start recognizing those thought patterns in yourself. Recognize when you are putting yourself down, minimizing your writing, hedging your bets, and say to yourself, my writing matters. My story is important. And it doesn't matter if anyone else believes it, if you believe it, if you respect your writing, respect your goals, and become steadfast within yourself. And then the outside comments putting you down, putting your writing down, they won't hurt so bad because you're steady, and it takes more than a little breeze to topple an oak. But this isn't something that happens all at once. The first thing is recognizing those voices within yourself and then responding to them in a way that says, I'm not going to go down that road today. I believe my writing matters. And over time, it becomes more and more natural. Step 2 is building an intentional writing practice. I want you to hook onto that word intentional, because being a serious writer isn't about writing every day. It's not about keeping up with what other writers are doing. It is about making an intentional choice to prioritize your writing. Shoot for consistency. Long-term, slow growth beats quick bursts where you get burnt out every single time. So prioritize your writing. If you want it to be a job, treat it like a job. And what I mean by that is treat it like something that is as important as a job. If you don't go to your 9 to 5 or do whatever you need to do in order to make money, then you don't pay your mortgage, you don't eat. We all recognize that that's important, but think about the consequences if you don't prioritize your writing. Yeah, maybe you'll still have food on the table, but when you look back on your life, are you going to be proud of what you've done? Or are you going to feel like you have a story inside you that you didn't share with the world? Are you going to have regrets? Are you going to feel accomplished and true to yourself at the end of the day? Are you going to let down readers who needed your story? Folks, you could have impacted, you could have changed their life. Think about a book that changed your life. Think about a book that contributed to you becoming the person you are today. We all have them. What if that author had not written that book? What if that author had said, it's just not serious, it's not important, I'm not going to prioritize it? And I know there's probably a voice inside your head saying, well, I'm not that author, I'm not as good as that author. There's no reader who would really respond to my work like that. Yes, there is. There is. I promise you, there is someone whose life you could change with your writing. So tell me, is that as important as going to a 9 to 5 and making money for Joe Schmo Corporation? Because I sure think it is. And that's pretty doggone serious to me. So prioritize it. Prioritize your writing. Tell yourself it's important because it is. And focus on the process, not the outcome. I've got a whole video about effort-focused goals over results-focused goals. And it is hard to internalize, but I think that is one of the most important things we can do in order to build a sustainable, consistent writing practice. Instead of trying to write 1,000 words a day, set a goal like engage with my story every day. Think about my story every day. Encourage another writer every day. I love that one. Find ways to keep yourself connected to your story rather than focusing entirely on your output. By building this intentional writing practice, you're integrating it into your life in a way that feels real, feels lasting. This is not a one-off. This is not something we're doing for a week and then leaving alone. This is our life. You are a writer. If you write, you're a writer. If you're watching videos and podcasts about writing, you're a writer. Step number 3 is adopt a craft-first mindset. And what I mean by that is that sometimes we get a little backwards. We start thinking, I'll be a serious writer when I publish, when I do XYZ, whatever the bar is. We know that that's problematic because the bar constantly moves. You hit one thing and then you see something else in the distance and you think, well, I'll be a serious writer when I get there. The truth is, you do not become a serious writer by hitting those goals, by publishing. You become a serious writer because of the way you show up to the work and you hit those goals because you take it seriously. You do not become a serious writer because you hit goals. You hit goals because you're a serious writer. Do you think Stephen King published a few books and then said, oh, this is going pretty well, I guess maybe I'll start taking this seriously? No, he took it seriously before he was ever published. And that's how he got there. When you sit down to write, or when you are thinking about sitting down to write, act like you're Stephen King. Act like you have this huge backlog of best-selling books and all these readers waiting on your next one. Treat it like you've already done it. If that were the case, if you were a multi-book, international, best-selling author, would you be treating your writing practice the way you're treating it now? If the answer is no, then just think about that for a second. How are you going to get where you want to go if you're not acting like you deserve it? You've heard the advice, dress for the job you want. That's what I'm saying, y'all. Write for the career you want. Treat it like it's that big, like it's that important. And not to put pressure on it, but to say, this is my thing. This is what I do. This is my world. It's important. So I'm going to act like it's important. I'm going to show up and intentionally build my writing practice in a way that will still work when I am that best-selling author, when I am putting out 2 books a year, when I do have a following of readers who are just on the edge of their seats waiting for my next book. Don't wait until you're there to be that writer. Be that writer now. And that's what's going to get you there. Because y'all, let me tell you this, because y'all, you do not need permission to take your writing seriously. Not from me, not from your mama, not from Billy Bob down the street, not from anybody. You don't need to be making money off of it. You don't need to have a readership. You don't need to be published. You do not need anyone to tell you that you're a real, serious writer, except one person. And I think y'all know who that person is. If you believe you're a serious writer, you are. Simple as that. And it's not easy. It's not easy to quiet those voices in our head because we've been conditioned to believe that serious means money. If we're not making money off it, if we're not making a living off it, then it's not our real job. It's something we do on the side. It's a hobby. And I think that is a trap. There are a lot of things in this world that are real and serious and important that don't cost a dime. And half the time when you start making money off things, people shame you for that too. Oh, you're just money grubbing. You're just trying to grab a dollar where you can. So what? The only things in this world that we're allowed to take seriously is making money for somebody else? I don't buy that for a second. Taking your writing seriously is allowed. It is more than allowed. It is necessary if you want to grow. Giving yourself permission to take it seriously. Not waiting for anyone else's approval. Not waiting for a benchmark that makes you feel like it's okay. It's no longer cringy or whatever you feel when you tell people that you're a writer. Focus on growth. Focus on consistency and intention. Those things are so much more important than results. And I promise if you trust yourself, trust your heart and your passion, everything else will follow. And all the fear and worries and insecurities that you're holding on to, they are not serving you. They're not for you. You are a writer. You are a real writer. You are a serious writer. Respect your desire to write. Build an intentional writing practice and cultivate a craft-first mindset. Focus on those things and keep writing until you feel like the serious writer you are.